Eden Kaz here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. P.S. Just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a psychological empath, meditation master, dimensional healer, all the things to help you within this ascension. To learn more about me, visit me at edenjustbe.com. And let's get this party started. First, let's start with a smile. And I do some wacky ones as well. Okay,
really big.
More. Oh. Beautiful. And I start by shaking it up. And I encourage people to do whatever they need or feels good.
Okay. Yeah.
You know the main reason I do this, I'm going to tell you.
I'd love to hear.
I do that to see, and when I'm doing it, I look at the other person because and I encourage everyone who's watching this as well. I really look at them because that alone tells me a whole bunch about them. Folks that laugh or shake themselves are much more lighthearted. If they just kind of look at me, that says a lot as well. And then for my screen captures for the show, I put myself in kind of ridiculous poses because, this is Eden with Just Be Spiritual Boom, by the way.
Yeah.
Welcome, Lorina Quigley, as a guest. How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
Great. Out of Arizona. Thank you so much for being here.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yay. All right. I'm going to do a quick little just intro in the big picture intro and then tell you more about Lorina. Okay. So as I have stated on previous podcasts, Lorina's in the galactic Akashic Records class with me. So a year and a half ago, I started this podcast, which it was about the spiritual aspects behind the Great Awakening. Mm-hmm. And through this process, I have already learned so much. So making this for me even bigger in terms of going into the cosmos, in terms of really expanding this into more, because I am realizing and knew there was more, just that we weren't the only beings around, but still centered on Earth and knowing all that. But now I'm just like, oh my God, there's so much more. So I'm still getting a grasp on some things. So I'm branching out my podcast into people who know more, who are connected to some of that as well. So please, Lorina, if you want to describe your thoughts on that later, but let me read about you.
Okay.
Lorina is a multi-dimensional energy healer, psychic medium, Akashic Records reader, and past life regressionist and spiritual teacher. She started having past life memories when she was young, 10 years of age, and also had many out-of-body experiences as a child, which I'm hoping we can talk about today, which led her to the exploration of the mystical realms. She started officially her healing journey learning MariEL. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did. MariEL.
Yay. Energy healing. We'll talk about that too, in 1991, and became a Reiki master, which I am as well, in 2000. Also in that year, she studied hypnotherapy and past life regression. Then in 2003, she started studying psychic and mediumship development in New York City. Were all your trainings in New York City or just the latter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, New York City. Mm-hmm.
Is that where you're from?
No, I'm from Utah.
Okay.
Mormon.
Oh yeah. We talked about that too. Okay, we're going to talk about that. She has pre-life memory, past life memory, and has even seen into future lives, and has also been connected with multi-dimensional beings, sometimes having full visions of them. Let's lead directly into being born into Utah, because that was an interesting story. I cannot talk today. An interesting story that you told me about. Tell me about that, especially leading to where you are right now.
Well, I was born Salt Lake area. born into a very religious family, Mormon, and really kind of stuck in the constructs of that religion. It's pretty hardcore. Lots of rules. I knew at an early age that I was not going to be Mormon. I just knew. I mean, 5 or 6, I'm like, no, I don't see it working.
Can you go into that a little bit more? I'm assuming most people know about being Mormon and what that entails, but can you explain that a little bit more?
As far as what, being Mormon itself, or
what is the religion like? What in terms of the constructs? Yeah, and talking about it being pretty hardcore. What was that like? What does that mean?
Okay, well, first of all, like the minute you're born, you're 2 years old, your parents are telling you you're going to get married in the temple and you're going to have lots of babies. And that means, and you have to wear, Mormons, they really want you to stay in that society of Mormons, which is they wear something called garments, so you have to dress very modestly. You can't really date till you're 16. These are probably more lax at this time. You can't smoke, you can't drink coffee. Those are forbidden. You're learning scripture at a really early age. But the thing is, part of it is like, if you're not happy, this is a big part of it. If you are not happy, you are not following the tenets of the church strongly enough. So you need to pray some more, and you need to get with it, because you're supposed to be happy. And something's wrong with you if you're not. So you need to do more work. And it's one of those religions where there's a lot of work involved with it, as far as like, they make sure that you're involved with teaching or Relief Society, or they keep you very, very busy. You go to church. Well, it's changed a little bit, but you were supposed to go 3 days a week. And on Sundays, you couldn't do anything. You can't go to a restaurant. You can't watch TV. You can't, it's a day to pray and stay reverent. It's a religion about being reverent and earnest.
So to clarify, if you're not happy, then your faith isn't strong enough, essentially, or your faith needs to be worked on.
You better start praying some more and studying some more. And that's why a lot of people a lot of Mormons, they pretend to be happy. There's a lot of fake happiness going on there. And I really, truly mean that. Yeah. So when I moved to New York, it was so refreshing to be there, because people are so honest there.
Yes, they are.
It's like, oh my God, people don't care. If you feel crappy, you're going to tell. So you don't pretend. You just tell it like it is, and you say what you feel. And of course there are shysters, but there are those people everywhere. But there is an honesty that is not really there. People are not, there's a lot of masks. There's a lot of masks on.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. All right. Being in the Mormon construct, let's call it, and then having past life memories and out of body experiences when you were a child, what did you do with that information? How did you handle that for yourself?
Well, I didn't tell anyone, because I knew I couldn't. I mean, I remember I knew, and I really didn't even understand reincarnation or what it was. I just knew when I started having these dreams of being a Native American woman, buckskin clothing, walking along a path, long dark braids. I mean, I was 10. I knew, just simple perception, this is me. That's me. But I also knew I couldn't tell anyone. I knew absolutely, and that it would be a really bad idea to tell people. And I even, when I got older, I would hear my mom say things like, that's of the devil. Reincarnation is of the devil. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell you anything. So there was a really early separation.
So did you believe that was of the devil? Like I'm having these, no, you felt it was all good right from the beginning.
No, it was simple. It was just, oh, that's me. There was nothing bad around it at all. And going out of my body, having astral projection when I was a kid, I knew if I told someone, nobody would even understand what I was talking about. because I didn't understand it. I just knew that I was leaving my body, I was coming back in, and it was really hard to come back in. It was really hard. It was painful, actually. And that could be, it could be a myriad of things, but it could be this, my own resistance to being here. And like that big spirit coming back into the little body, going, oh my God, this is hurt. This hurts. It's hard.
So when you did that when you were younger, did you go anywhere or did you just go out of your body and come back in?
I don't, this is the thing. I don't really remember where I went. I don't think I was supposed to remember. Otherwise I wouldn't have come back. Seriously.
Right.
Because, well, I grew up, I also had 3 siblings who had cystic fibrosis who were very, very ill. And it was a sad, depressing home to grow up in. I mean, it was really sad. My mom was very sad. She was depressed. My dad had anxiety disorders. There was no happiness in this home. And you know, well, it makes sense why. And also my mom was deaf. So there was no communication. There was just, in this process, I became very empathic to get through all this.
And I think from what you told me before, no one taught you guys how to communicate with her. No sign language was taught, nothing.
We did not learn sign language, which is so bizarre.
Right.
That my mother and father decided not to teach it to us. They could have just started speaking to us in sign language, just like a Spanish mother will speak to their child in Spanish, or if they're in the US or whatever. There's just, so there was this weird barrier of communication that existed in our family, just bizarre. And
let me ask you just one other question, because this is so intriguing. First, I want to know how many siblings you had, and then with cystic fibrosis, isn't it where you're not supposed to be in a room with anybody else with cystic fibrosis? Is that correct?
That's more modern.
Okay.
That because that's in some movies.
Okay.
So I had 3 siblings who had cystic fibrosis, and there were 3 girls in the middle who were left. And so I'm the oldest of the 3 girls in the middle. And so there are 3 sisters. And so we pretty much got ignored too, because, hey, you don't need anything. You're okay. You know, and that was it. So our needs got ignored. And my one brother died when he was 5, and I was not quite 3 yet. So I don't really remember him, but I do remember there was just so much sadness, especially for my mother. Just incredible sadness. And then she would tell me her stories about my brother dying. I'm a kid. She had no one to talk to. She was deaf, so she would come and tell me these really sad stories. And I would run away from her. Like, oh my God, I don't want to hear this. This is so sad, and I'm a kid. So, yeah, there was such a lack of communication, and but except for sad things, you know. So, and then my 2 other siblings died when they were older. I was 21 and 23.
Okay.
And yeah, that there was so much influence around their lives in my life still to this day. Like my sister Jana, she was the youngest of the family. She used to come to me in dreams after she died and would tell me things. So there's always been this connection there, even though they're on the other side, and incredible influence. Like when my brother died, on his deathbed, I didn't know what it was called till maybe a year ago, the shared death experience when he was dying.
My
yeah.
Gracious.
And he, oh man, I love my brother so much. He actually, when I was holding his hand the night before he died, I started seeing this golden light coming into the room, and this, like, through my whole body, through his body, through, like, all the air had this sparkling gold energy. And I'm looking at it, and we're not really talking. I'm just holding his hand and just feeling this sense of incredible love, just incredible love. And it was like, I felt like, and I believe this is true, that I was seeing, this is the essence of life. This love that I'm seeing is the essence of what we are made of. And this is what I am experiencing right now. And it was so beautiful. so beautiful, and simultaneously so sad.
Okay, how old were you when this happened? Had you started doing your
I
healing
had
experiences?
no.
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
20. I was 21. He was 22.
Okay. Okay. Man, I want to ask you one more question too. You had so many experiences before you actually started going into a healing journey. When your mom communicated to you, knowing that she was deaf, could she speak pretty
Oh,
well?
yes. She could speak pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
She lost her hearing when she was about 3 years old. So she did have the ability to speak, not super clear.
Right.
Yeah. And that's maybe why they didn't teach us sign language, because she did know how you could understand her pretty well. She
And could
just
she
couldn't
read?
understand.
Oh my. So how was
Yeah,
her reading lips ability? Was
she
that
could read
so?
lips. You could read lips. So yeah, but not, I wouldn't say great.
Okay.
There was a lot of repeating. And then at
So,
some point we did learn finger spelling. So you could spell a few things out
gosh.
and then yell really loud. I mean, not, speak really, really loud. And, yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your brother. Why did he pass so early? If you don't mind
This was
sharing.
from cystic fibrosis.
That was from
Cystic,
cystic. Okay, jeez.
yeah. Yeah, they all died from cystic fibrosis, which is a
Oh,
lung disease, which,
yes.
you don't live a long life. And back then it was, yeah, my sister died when she was 18. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so when you shared that experience with him, I think I stopped you before you had finished. Was there anything else left to say with that? Because I felt it when you were talking about it. It was magical.
It was magical. It was so beautiful. There was so much love in that room. And I didn't speak to him and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, because we were not good communicators in that family. So, but so I would sit with them, and this happened, and then I knew, and I'd run back outside and just bawl. And then I'd come back in, just because it was so incredibly loving and beautiful. So it's really just this amazing mix of emotions, of the pain of someone leaving you, but the beauty of somebody going to the other side and feeling that essence of what we're made of simultaneously. It's just, yeah, pretty amazing. I mean, that's
So
so
did
that,
he actually pass away with you?
no, no.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was in the middle of the night,
Hmm.
that night. And I knew I had to leave. I could not, I knew, but I knew there was still, he was leaving. And that was part of, so that, and from what I've read, that is part of the shared death experience. So I didn't see him actually leave his body, and I don't think I could have handled it. I just don't think, I don't think I could have handled that at all. It would have been too much for me, and that experience would have been lost. Yeah, I was not emotionally stable enough at that time to handle that. Yeah, to see him leave.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So when you went to New York City, at
Mhm.
that point, I'm curious about what age you were and if you kind of like that was I'm leaving Utah at this point. I'm leaving that segment of my life because
Mhm.
I don't fit in there. I want to go out on my own. Tell me about that.
Well, I knew that I had to leave Utah because it was just so stifling, um, and I knew that I had to go somewhere where I could really grow. I needed to grow, and I couldn't do it there. And so, and I thought about San Francisco, I thought about New York, but I wanted to be a fashion, excuse me, a fashion designer at that time. So went to New York City. Anyway, um, going to New York, I was 28. So I was a hairdresser. I'd already been doing hair for about 5 years. And my kind of spiritual journey started when I think it's 86 or 87, I was working in a salon, and my friend Gerald came up to me and said, hey, Lorina, there's going to be a channeling session. There's going to be a channeling group that that was 86. We're going to, do you want to come? It's Friday night at this woman's house. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in 100%. I'm going. And this is like that, this is Shirley MacLaine time period, this is what everybody was channeling. And so I went to this house. It was amazing. There were everyone could channel. Like this girl could channel Mother Mary, and she was an actress, and somebody else over here could channel the Ascended Masters. And this, I mean, everybody. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So we did a meditation. There was channeling. We did something called toning, which is just this vocal sound of whatever, and it just sounded angelic. And my first time doing that, I was at the same place. Everybody got up and was kind of milling about, but I was still sitting there meditating. And I had this tap on my head. I get tapped. Sometimes I get literal physical, like, boom, like I need your attention right now. And I felt this tap on my head, and I saw this green being. Now this was in my mind's eye, but I saw this green being, like green light that looked like it has kind of a human shape, green being. And it was male, and he said, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Wow. What do you want? Which just like, that was like such a big moment for me, because growing up the way I grew up, I didn't even think about what I wanted. I was not supposed to don't want anything, because we're taking care of all this other stuff. So your needs are not important, even though they didn't consciously think that.
Right.
But this was how I grew up. So I'm like, wow, okay, I don't even know.
So were you shocked that it was a green being as well? Like just like, okay.
It was okay. Just new experience. All right. That's
good for you. Because a lot of people would be like, and yeah, what do you want? Oh,
yeah. Well, I'd already seen a being show up in my bedroom. Not my bedroom, I was at somebody's house, show up when I was around 21 years old. So beings showed up, not all the time. Okay, this is not like an everyday experience. I had a being show up when I was 21 years old. I had spent the night, I was dating this guy, excuse me, and it was dawn. Light was filtering in through the windows, and I sat up. For some reason, I decided to sit up. And there was a being standing in front of me. Now, this was with my eyes open. Full on, excuse me, I have a frog in my throat. A full on visitation. Wow, hold on, man.
Sure.
Frog in my throat, big one. It's like,
a big green one.
Big green. Are you sure you want to tell this story? We're going to make it a little difficult. Anyway, this being, and it looked like Father Time. But this is with my eyes open, Father Time, like just what you think Father Time looks like, this white, but this being was white, completely white, blue eyes, long gray white, well, long white hair, long white beard, robes, a sash around the robes, just standing there, kind of hovering above the bed, a couple feet at the end of the bed. And I'm just staring at it. I'm just watching it like, okay. And I'm watching it and watching it. And I don't remember him communicating anything to me, but I could see it so clearly that I saw the pieces of light, that woven light that created his robe. It was that vivid. My eyes open. And so, yeah. Mm. And then all of a sudden my brain went, you should lay down now, Lorina. And so I laid down. Okay. She goes, you should lay down. I laid down. And that's when my logical brain went, Lorina, what did you just see? And I sat up, and of course he was gone. Now, this was at a time in my life where I was such a mess. And I mean a mess. So I think that happened just to know that, yeah, there are beings here. Yeah, we're here to help you, because I needed help. So I think that's part of why I saw that. Anyway, excuse me. So I think that's part of the reason why when the green guy shows up, and this was in my mind's eye, I'm like, okay.
Okay, been there, done that. Astral, travel at night. You go. All right. So when the green guy showed up, was that kind of your extra push to go New York City. It's time. And when you left Utah, was your family like, we're going to disown you now, or we're going to try and be supportive, or yeah, what happened with that?
Well, they knew I had made my mind up. I mean, they knew I was going. My mom did say, I remember my mom said, she's going to come back with her tail between her legs.
Oh.
I heard her say that. She wasn't saying it to me, but I heard her. And I went, oh, Mom, you just sealed the deal. I am staying in New York. That's it. It doesn't matter how hard it gets. Yeah.
Were they like, again, kind of like incredibly sad that you're also leaving the church? Like, I'm assuming this is a really big deal.
Well, you know, I think they knew there was nothing I could do about it.
Okay.
So they didn't want me to go. They wrote me letters about, you know, you need to go to church again all the time and all that stuff. And you'd meet a nice boy if you went to church, you know, those kind of letters. I'm like, no. Anyway, and I hadn't gone to church for quite some time at that point. But every time I was hanging out with them, one word about the church, and that's like a big open door to like them trying to like pull you back in. So but that's part of being a Mormon. Part of being a Mormon is they're not supposed to fully accept you as you are if you are not part of the church. That means, you know, they're compliant. They're shaking hands with the devil if they allow you to be who you are. No, you have to be part of the fold. Anyway, so they're not going to totally accept where you are in your life and what you're doing. It's just part of it, sadly.
So when you left, were you gone for good, or would you still, you know, talk, but knowing I'm talking to you, but yet you're over there, I can't really love you anymore?
Well, no, they still loved me. And my other two sisters, you know, they still loved us, but there was always, it's very conditional. It's very conditional. So, and, you know, I did go to visit. I think it was about a year and a half before I went back to visit. But, you know, I lived in New York for 20 years. That's like, I was going to stay. Yeah. And New York's a great place to live, to learn. This is where I took all my classes and stuff. It was so much fun.
Okay. So then why did you go to Arizona? Was Arizona right after that? Or was that
I moved to Arizona. Well, I was, you know, I lived 20 years in New York City. What are you going to do? You know, I didn't want to grow old in New York City. New York City is not kind or easy. It's like, it's a rough place to live the older you get, unless you have tons and tons of money. So I just went, where am I going to go after living in New York? Because and you also have a love-hate relationship with New York City. As much as you love it, it's like, oh my God, it is a pain. So where am I going to go after that? So I started looking, and I was thinking, I don't want to live in Utah, but I want to live close enough that if I need to go there, I can get there easily. And I love the desert. I love red rocks. And I was also thinking about maybe Santa Fe, New Mexico, were my two things that I kept looking at. And then my sister called me one day and said, oh, Lorina, I'm moving to Phoenix. And she lived in San Francisco area at the time. So I went, okay, well, that's perfect. I'm going to Phoenix. And that was it. And she'd been there for about a year.
Okay. And how far is Utah from you?
It's like a 13-hour drive.
Okay. But is it a pretty easy flight?
It's like an hour and 15, 20 minutes. So
direct.
Very easy. Yes.
Okay, that's very nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into, thank you so much for sharing your past, which is so integral to the now. Tell me more about MariEL healing, and I also want to talk to you another thing that you do, matrix energetics. What are those modalities about?
So MariEL is the first modality that I learned, and it came from a woman named Ethel Lombardi, and she was my teacher. And she was like, and I can't remember exactly, the second or third Reiki master who was in the United States. So she was one of those people who paid $10,000 to become a Reiki master. And I think it takes a couple of years to become that. that process back then was you had to take a couple of years to actually become a Reiki master.
Oh my
So
gosh.
shortly after she became a Reiki master, she said that she had beings come to her, and she said they look like monks, and they said, this is what you need to do. Now, I don't know how they came to her, like just in her vision, in her mind, that I don't recall. Probably that. And they gave her symbols. Well, they actually told her to make up the symbols, but maybe they put those symbols in her mind. I don't know, because that makes sense to me.
Right.
You use symbols and it's a form of energetic healing. It was the first one I did, and it's very powerful. And it comes from Mother Mary. That's the MariEL, Mary, and El is capital EL, is the Elohim, which is the Elohim are the beings that created the structure of reality, is what they say. So it comes from these two, the Elohim and Mother Mary, and it's incredibly powerful. And you pull out a lot of stuff. A lot of what it's around is you're pulling stuff out. There's a grid that you draw, a grid of lines that you, with your mind, draw on the body, and then you use these symbols and you pull stuff out. Now, when I was learning this, I mean, people were pulling out memories from like when they were kids, or all sorts of things, and people crying and stuff moving, and it was incredibly dynamic. And so when I learned Reiki, after that, like, I don't know, 9 years later, I became a Reiki master. And I was like, this is it.
Compared to that, yeah, I totally understand. Oh, I'm doing this. Okay, where's all the crying? Where's all that? Yeah.
And I'm not pulling stuff out. I'm just. And also, and when I did MariEL, so I had a friend we would practice all the time because she took it too. She's the one who found out about it. So we would practice on each other. And at some point when I was doing this, and she had the same experience, I don't know as much, but we both had this experience that when we were doing it, especially at the end of the session, I would see past lives of that person. And it would come so fast, it'd be like boom, 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 boom. Like, oh, okay. And so it's now when I see past lives, when I'm doing energy healing, I see past lives, but I don't see them like that, like, it's more like, okay, let's hone in on one. I'll see maybe 4 or 5 simultaneously. And it's like, what's the theme here? Instead of like, or maybe just one that kind of encapsulates like a theme of like, oh, you're a warrior and you killed a lot of people. Well, it can be anything. And then start moving that energy that is trapped. It's still trapped in the body for some reason. And then there's a part of you that's living that theme out today.
Okay. So there used to be like, you'd see 20 or 30, like, or however many, just a ton. Okay. Awesome. Let me lead into this, Lorina. How did you start learning about the Great Awakening? When did that come into your vision?
The Great Awakening. Yeah, I don't know. Because this is kind of my life, that's, and when I read the three waves of the volunteers, Dolores Cannon's book, that kind of really was like, okay, yeah, the first wave, I'm part of the first wave, the second wavers, the third wavers, and you start meeting all these people. And a lot of people are coming to my classes, and this is, excuse me, right now I'm teaching a psychic development class, mediumship psychic development.
Do you mind explaining Dolores Cannon, just for those who may not know the tiers?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dolores Cannon was a hypnotherapist, and she fell into doing past life regressions, and then just having some really wild experiences about people on other planets, other systems, having all these experiences. And then she wrote this book, which is the 3 waves of the volunteers of Earth, is these different waves of people who are being born, a lot of the starseeds who are being born onto this Earth to assist with mankind's awakening, or like we are moving into a new paradigm. I guess is a good way to put it, where people are opening, their gifts are coming up. Most of the people who come to my classes, well, a lot of them, and a lot of people are younger than me, like a lot younger than me, or who are having these experiences and don't know how to understand or what's going on. They want to understand. They want to get control of it, which happened to me in my 20s.
Are
Like,
you
I don't know.
finding with a lot of younger people too that so much of the mind control and the ideologies are so contradictory to this that it's making them step out? Because a lot of people I find that know what's going on are in their 50s and above, and
Yeah.
slowly the younger
Yeah.
folks are catching up. Is that what you're seeing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's got to be so fantastic when someone is coming to you basically like, I don't understand this spiritual stuff that's going on with me. Do you slowly introduce them into more? Well, there's more. There's a whole
Yeah.
bunch more.
It depends on where they're at. Usually I'm kind of a jump right in person.
Awesome.
Because we're all at different stages.
Mhm.
And so sometimes I take a few small steps and then we jump in. And what I find is people really like, I do readings and I do healings, but for me, the biggest thing is people want to have these experiences themselves and understand and get training around it. That to me, and I love doing healing work. I mean, it's amazing. Phenomenal things happen where I'm still like, wow, that was so cool.
Yes.
But they want to progress. They want to have these experiences. They want to see beings. They want to understand. And because there's so much to understand and there's so many pieces, so many.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
apparently with people being born or children being born now so again, we have 2 strands of DNA that are active in us, and tell me if you know something else, Lorina, because again, it's so moving into 12 strands, and that a lot of younger folks are going to be born automatically with these 12 strands. So a lot of the work that you and I have done, people are just going to come into the world knowing so much of it as we've had to progress and work on everything. So part of that, it's kind of like a bummer, but then it's kind of like, oh my gosh, we're going to have so many more people to talk to and to understand things. And that's
who are
part of the
so
elevation.
open, and like those old constructs, they're not there. A lot of them, which
That's
is
going to be
amazing.
so nice. All right. So when you jump right in, if someone is still struggling with the 3D of the world, how do you encourage them to be more, to think more, to look more? What do you do?
Well, a lot of times what I do in my classes is, first of all, we do breath work. Breath work is so powerful. I do a lot of breath work. It's one of my favorite things because I've had phenomenal experiences doing breath work. I mean like by location, like I'm in a different realm, beings are talking to me. Breath work will get you there.
Do you think we could do that in the practice? You might have already had something else planned. But you think though, because that might be too complex.
Yeah, that might be too complex because
Okay.
then we have to go into explaining breath work and how to,
Understood.
But I got something really good.
Oh, good. Okay. Continue.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I talking about?
So breath work being kind of the instigator into more.
Yeah. All that stress and tension and all those thoughts, those monkey mind, it can move you through those so quickly that you can be open to it opens you up really, really quickly. And I think that what's his name, Joe Dispenza, he talks a lot about that, those meditations that he does. There's some breath work that he does with that. It's the bringing the energy up through the spine, squeezing the mula bandha, the perineum, is that it? It's like at the base of the spine, you squeeze that, you breathe in and bring the energy up into your third eye. You hold that energy in your third eye. But this is you're doing a series of breath work before that, so that you're getting that your blood oxygenated. And also oxide. Oh, sorry. My brain's having a little hard there. So anyway, so you bring the energy, you do some breath work, and then you do that squeezing where you bring that the energy up. So this is Kundalini energy that you're bringing up into your third eye. You're holding it, holding it, holding it. And then you're breathing out, and then you're bringing around in a circle, breathing out, and then you're bringing the energy back up into your third eye again, where you squeeze the energy, hold it, hold it, hold it. And if you do a series of these after doing about 10 minutes of just breathing in and out, that can be very specific too. But anyway, what it does is there's piezoelectric crystals in your pineal gland that it starts moving. It actually starts shaking. This opens up your third eye. It works. It absolutely 100% works. And it starts moving old, stuck emotions that need to come out and be healed.
So when you're doing this with people, do the emotions typically, like after you're done with it, does someone start crying? Like, is it an immediate effect, or just something's been opened that later they can release? Or
it can. It not necessarily. It depends on how close some of those emotions are to the surface.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. But if you do an hour of that, stuff's going to come up.
Oh so an hour specifically of breathing and breath work.
20 minutes, 45, an hour. Yeah. 20 minutes is great. If you can do 20 minutes of that.
Okay. Yeah. Bam. So recommending folks maybe check out some breath work by Joe Dispenza. Did I say that right?
He's the one who's super well known. That's why I'm bringing his name up. There's Wim Hof.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Everyone knows him. And also there's Soma Breath. That's where I trained, Soma Breath. SOMABREATH. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube. Great stuff. Yeah.
I have to tell you, I talked about this on the podcast, Lorina, but you'll probably find this interesting. I took a Wim Hof class because someone who refers a lot of people to me is like, Eden, do you want to come and I'll introduce you to this person? I'm like, okay. So did that. The next day, I was getting my water heater replaced. And because of a malfunction, I guess you would call it, in my from my chimney, which pulled air out, they could not replace my hot water heater for 2 weeks. Literally right after I'd taken the class. So I was forced to cold water, and it was, and I still, like, my body started to change, and then I got my hot water heater back, and I gradually, so I still end showers with cold, but there was like, I look at that moment, I'm like, girl, you should have stuck with that. But then, there's so many other things that we do. But it was quite ironic that supposedly I was supposed to do that, at least for that time.
So that's one big thing that I do. And then I also always do a meditation in my classes. So leading to like connecting with your higher self, so that you can bring that energy in, so that you can have a more conscious connection with your higher self. And I do healings where sometimes, not always, depending on where the person's at, it's like, let's connect you to your higher self. Let's bring that energy in so that you consciously feel that energy. It's beautiful.
So you do remote sessions or all face-to-face?
I do remote sessions too.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let's put a plug in there too. I'm going to have links to, and I on the YouTube, I will put your website link there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Can I talk about multi-dimensional beings really quickly?
Yes, please.
So I already talked about this one being that I saw when I was 21, and then the green guy. But I've had 2 experiences that were like, and I've had some through breath work, but this is something else. I was sitting in a meditation, and this is in my psychic development class. So maybe 2004 or something. And this was the advanced class by then. And we were sitting there, and so we were all meditating, and we all knew each other because we'd all gone through every level together. And the lights were out, it was dark, we're meditating, sitting in chairs. And every once in a while I look up and look around and see what's going on. Anyway, I was sitting there, I saw this kind of golden light go across the room, kind of yellow golden light go across the room. like in a long line. This level opened up, like completely, like went and opened up. And I saw 5 beings walk out, 5. And they were about 10 to 12 feet tall. So they were rather large. But they were kind of see-through. They were orb-like beings, but kind of oval-shaped orb-like beings. They were gold and they're kind of goldeny. But I'll show you a picture because I've been painting.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, this I don't know how well you can see this.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
what they look like.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Anyway, so
and for those who are just listening, how would you describe those to those who cannot see it?
It's almost like there's a cross shape in the middle, and like a cross, like a beam of light going down through it, and then across, sort of where the heart would be, there was another beam of light going through there. And in the middle, there was this color, like this golden color. And they glided along the floor. They glided over to this guy. They stood in front of him. And I'm just watching. I'm like, wow, well, this is interesting. And he disappeared. The guy completely disappeared. And his chair moved back 2 feet. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm freaked out. When I saw his chair move back, that freaked me out. And the thing that's interesting, I don't remember the rest of the class. The next thing I remember is that we were like, okay, we're back. And so I don't know what happened. So I don't know if because they had to know I was watching them. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
These are multi-dimensional beings. They do. So I'm watching. And wait, so I tell my teacher about it, and he's like, the only person I didn't tell the guy. And the guy was sitting back in the chair, like at the end of the class. So, and I was too freaked out to actually even mention it to him, but I told the teacher. So anyway, so interesting. And I don't know
what the teacher say?
He said, well, I don't know. He didn't know what to say to me. He's like, I don't know. And then he said, I do know one thing and this was an older Russian guy. And he said that he's working on the guy that it happened to. He said that the teacher said that he had been working with what's his name? Jumbola Melchizedek, and with that guy, and he was doing a lot of Merkaba work. So that's all I know. Okay. And I never did ask him and I had one other experience that was pretty phenomenal and this was doing matrix energetics. And we did talk about that a little bit, but matrix energetics is where you work in a quantum field. Like all possibilities exist around you and you access that field. It's a way of accessing the field of quantum possibility because all possibilities do exist. I mean, they do exist all around you. And so you access that field and you do healing through that. It's like, I'm here at this point. Maybe I have something here in my heart and I need to do something about that. So where is the desired reality? Where is it to this? I need to move this energy. So you find that point in that reality, you connect the 2 points and it dissolves, and it dissolves the now moment. Well, the construct of the problem, whatever that is. Let's say that sounds better. And it connects you to the thing that you want, and you drop that and you're connected to that thing. And it can come into your reality, which could be anything instantaneous. That is a really short nutshell of matrix energetics. Anyway, the guy who created it is brilliant and so much fun to listen to, but he's kind of hard to access these days. And I went to at least 5 or 6 of his workshops, maybe more. So, and he makes healing fun, because it can be pretty heavy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is fun, even though, you're right. It can be, but yeah.
Anyway, so I was having a matrix energetics session with someone one day. The guy, he's here in this valley. This was in Phoenix. And it's not typical, like lay on a table, massage table for healing type of session. So I was sitting on the floor and the guy's name's Keith. He was sitting over here. And we were at the end of the session, and that was about a 2-hour session. It was a long session. And all of a sudden, I'm just sitting on the floor, and I see some beings of light coming like kind of popping into the room, like up around the ceiling. Now, there were about 10 of them. And this is with my eyes open again. This was not a vision in my head with eyes closed. And they were light beings. These were full on light beings. I saw them walk into the room, and come around me. And one of them steps in front of me. Now and let me tell you what they look like, because it was phenomenal. It just, they were light. So there were lights, they're all light. There were light beams coming from all around them. So they did have an angelic quality. And some people might call them angels, because there was like this light that's moving and filtering around them. But as that light moved, these other lights would beam off of those lights. It's hard to describe. So say the light from here and the light from here, and they both have beams coming from them. As they intersected, those lights, diamonds of lights would come off of those little intersections that were other colors.
Wow, that must have been so incredible to see.
Oh, phenomenal. I'm just wow, this is amazing.
Right. Wow.
And just watching in awe. And at some point, one of them came in front, and they're different. They're all white, but these little colors that came off of them were different colors. Mm-hmm. Pink, blue, yellow, gold. Yeah. Oh. Anyway, so one steps right in front of me. And at that time, I thought, oh, that's me. I had, again, the simple perception. I thought, that's me. That is another version of myself, higher self, perhaps. And I did think at that time that was my higher self. It's like, wow, that's really cool. And but he actually was communicating with me telepathically. And he said, do you want me to show you how to manifest or create? And I said, yes. Anyways, of course. So, and then all of a sudden they had arms and like robes, but light. He kind of swung his arm around, and there was bands of light all around him, like these almost like bars or bands of light all around him, going all the way around, different colors all the way around him. And he said, this is how you create. He went, and what he's communicating is, what do you want to create? What do you want to create? Where is this thing in your field that you want to create? Oh, it's right here. Boom, connect with it. In that field, if you're in that space where you have to be in that vibration to create the thing. I'm just saying, here it is. This is what I want to create. Boom, connect with it, bring it in.
Okay, so it's almost like you're at a library and there are a whole bunch of books in front of you. Like, this is the book that I'm going to take. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. Connect with it. Like, open that book up. It's right there. It's that simple. Now, we have a lot of stuff in the way.
Yes.
But the most important piece, well, two most important pieces, is that you have to know what you want to create. Number one. That's number one. What do you want to create? And so be in that space of creation of what it is, and then where is it in my field, and then connect it to it. It's that simple. On one level, because and what we're getting the stuff out of the way. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing here, is getting that stuff out of the way so that we can manifest that easily. Now, I have had people, I tell them, because you can also use little balls of light and go, where's this thing I want to create? Oh, let's see. I want a relationship that is just perfect for me, and that, is a divine connection, whatever, Where is that? Oh, I'm going to feel in my field. Oh, here it is. It's right here. It's in a ball. So it's make it a little easier for you. It's in a ball.
Okay.
Start pulling that ball in. How does it feel as you pull that ball in? When it gets closer to your heart, it's like, are you really ready for this thing? Do you really want it? Pop it into your heart. See, and wait for that creation to come in. Or if it's like, oh no, maybe I'm not quite ready, let's just set it back a little further.
Let's put it right here on the table, exactly. So I can touch it at some point.
So I know it's there. I can create it. It's not quite ready. Bring it a little closer in a month, whatever. But I had somebody just tell me last week, she said, Lorina, I did that. And I manifested a boyfriend in 4 days. 4 days.
Ready.
And she said, but the thing that I made a mistake was that I should have been more clear about the kind of boyfriend that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. And there's so much within that. Tell me what your thoughts are too, that you might want something, but your subconscious that you don't know totally contradicts that. So part of cleaning out the muck and the works is that there's stuff you don't even know that your brain is saying that you are buying into. So when I've had many occasions doing this work where suddenly I would hear something very negative that I had been saying to myself for years, and finally I could hear it and go, what is that? And then I could work on changing it. But until I got to that point, I didn't even know what was going on.
Yeah. And that's part of the process, of the process of healing, getting all that stuff out of the way so that we can be creators. I've had experiences where, like in breathwork, meditation, where I suddenly, like, I feel this energy coming in and it's like, whoa, this is creator energy. I am connected to this energy that is where I am a creator. I am a creator. We are creating all the time anyway. We just don't know what we're creating.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
Because we're not conscious, but this had a consciousness to it that was so incredible. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is the space that you need to be in to consciously create. Now, I could hold that energy for about 30 minutes. These are like superhumans, super beings, that where we are superhuman, we have these abilities, these super powerful abilities. We all have them. Absolutely, 100%. I felt it. And in that moment, I was being felt, not just shown, felt within my being those powers. But to be at that space all the time, so that you are that conscious, that's where we need to get to. Because I've had that experience. I've had more than one of those experiences, but man, it is hard to hold that space. But that's the work. And it's phenomenal. And it's so exciting. I mean, it's beautiful. That's what we're supposed to do. That's why we're here.
And I was going to ask you to close this before we go into the Just Be practice, your recommendations for folks in terms of ascending, in terms of increasing their vibration. So it's to paraphrase what you said, and please add more into it, is knowing that we are that powerful. And when those moments come, even if they're fleeting, knowing we can hold on to them longer, and that our goal is to hold on to them longer, to become more conscious. Would you add anything to that?
To become that. You are that. You absolutely are that. It's all those layers, those thought constructs, those societal beliefs and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what we're removing and healing.
Yep. It's that simple, and it's that challenging, and it's everything and it's nothing.
And it's exciting. It's exciting too. The possibilities are just amazing.
Nice. Okay, so what do you have planned for us for the practice today? And are you ready to move into that? Thank you so much for talking about the multidimensional beings too. Loved it.
Oh, wait. I forgot my one picture. Oh, I'm so, like, this is such, I don't even know if you can see this, but this is my first attempt at trying to draw one of these beings.
What is that? Like it's like a dandelion for those who can't see. Like just the head of a full dandelion without the black parts on it. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. This is me trying to draw all that energy coming off of these beings, and there's little pieces of colored light that's, as that energy moves, it creates that. I mean,
and it's so soft.
Oh, yeah.
It's just soft.
And how do you draw a multi-dimensional light being?
No.
Not easy.
Yeah. It's hard to describe. It's hard to, all of it. Awesome. Okay.
Just be practice.
Anyway, that's my latest thing. So we can do that. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. So we're going to do a really short, quick meditation, really quick, where you're opening your awareness. This is opening your awareness and then calling in your higher self so that you connect with it. I thought that would seem like a really good one.
Sounds great.
So So I want you to just close your eyes and just start paying attention to your breath. Just breathing in and out, in and out, just softly breathing. Putting your attention on your chest as every breath in, your chest rises and then falls. Just breathing in and out. And going to that space that's more relaxed and comfortable and just letting go. Letting go. Just feeling that sense of letting go. And now I want you to pay attention to the left side of your body. I want you to imagine that you're expanding your awareness like 2 feet to your left, like that whole area, just expanding your awareness to the left side of your body. Allowing yourself to feel all around that area. Now we're going to go to the right side of the body, putting your attention to the right side of the body and just allowing yourself to expand your awareness to the right side of your body, just several feet to the side of you, just letting that expansion take place as you expand your awareness. Now we're going to go behind you. I want you to expand your awareness behind you. So just sending your energy body, your attention behind you a couple of feet. We don't pay a lot of attention to what's behind us. So feel that energy behind you, opening your awareness. And now we're going to go to the front of the body. Going to the front of the body and expanding your awareness to the front of your body. Just feeling that happen. Opening up your awareness all around you. And now you've opened your awareness all around you to the left, right, back, and front. And now I want you to project your energy below your feet, just a couple of feet below your feet. Going down into the earth, feeling your awareness go down there. And now I want you to go above your head, sending your awareness above your head a couple of feet. Feeling the energy all around you. And you're just opening your awareness. That's all. Above you, below you, and to each side of you, in the front and the back. You're just opening your awareness. Now I want you to imagine, sort of like an upside down cone shape, that you're opening up your third eye, the middle of your forehead, and then you're opening up your crown chakra. So it kind of goes in a cone shape up and out several feet. And just feel that happening. It's easy. And now I want you to rise above yourself, almost rising like 2 or 3 feet above yourself. Allowing yourself to rise above yourself. It's almost like if your spirit is growing bigger and bigger and growing above you. But I want you to also hold your attention at the heart as you're doing this. I want you to send a spark of light from your heart, shooting this spark of light up to source itself. Wherever you think source is, doesn't matter. Sending a spark of light straight to source. And that spark of light becomes a reciprocal light that source sends a spark of light back down to you and through you and all of your chakras, and ends right there in your heart, the very center of your heart. There's a spark of source, which you are. And as you do this and you feel it, I want you to ask for your higher self to step in. We are always connected to our higher self, always, always, always. But we want to create a more conscious connection with our higher self. So now I want you to ask, and it's really easy. Higher self, please come in and help me create a more conscious connection with you so that I know that I am connected to my higher self. And ask your higher self to come in up through those higher chakras that you've already opened, down through you, down through your spine, down through all those chakras, down into your root chakra, even down into your feet. Asking your higher self for assistance with more clarity, more wisdom, more love, more joy, more understanding, so that you can be clearer as you live in this world, in this 3D reality, bringing that energy in and feeling it, knowing that you have this connection. So you can make this connection at any time, anytime. Just ask your higher self to come in and connect with you now, right now. It's that simple. All right. Now you can come back. Come back. Whenever you're ready.
I'm not ready yet.
Okay. That's like
So,
that.
I'm slowly opening my eyes. Okay. How's everybody doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much. That was just what I needed. Hopefully is what
That's-
everybody else needed. Do you have any last final words for us, Mama, spiritual Mama?
Oh, my biggest thing is, it's hard being here on Earth. It's 3D reality. It's rough. So if you need help, ask for help. Like that green guy, my green guy. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want, but what you want, that could be help. I need help. We need help. This is a transition. Earth and all the people on it, we are going through a big transition. Transition is not easy. Change is not easy. So as we go through this, if you need help, ask for help. And that could be a class, a book, a healing, whatever it could be, but listen to your heart. Where does your heart lead you to get the help or assistance? And it could be just, I need to go meditate to connect with these higher beings. That is, connecting to spirit is the most important thing that we can do right now, so that you can know, what your next step is in life, so that we can get through this.
And to know also that what you're seeing in front of your face, there's so much more to it. There's so much more involved. So it is challenging, but you don't have to be depressed. You don't have to be anxious about it. Again, through great chaos, there is great rebirth, and we are in the middle of it. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that, for sharing you as well.
And we have so much help. I just want to say that. We have so much help.
And so much guidance. Yeah, you're right. Let's put that out there too. Not only do you have help with people around you, but you have spiritual support, multi-dimensional support. There's so much, and everybody's kind of like cheering us on because they can't step in and go, oh, y'all need to do it this way. We have to do it. Yet there is assistance abounding.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. All right. You have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much. And if you can stay with me for just a second after we end this. All right. We're going to end it right now.
Bye, everybody. Bye. Have a great day.
So cool of you to be here. I went from being off most social media to being on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or True Social, and you might be watching this on YouTube, Rumble, or BitChute. Or you might be listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. I'm on over 19 directories at this point. So connect, comment, subscribe, like. Oh, and my intention is to have a new episode out Wednesday of each week. Oh, Lordy, more to come.